let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
Stop! That's the signal! Go!
Drop
Go!
it! Six!
It's beautiful!
Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
Madness begin. Welcome to the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm Travis Justice. If you're listening on the stream, thank you so much at therushradio.com. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Like. Hit the subscribe button because we want you to subscribe to our channel and hit those notifications so you know when we go live. You can follow us on X at Rush Mornings and just search The Rush with Travis and Ross on Facebook and Instagram. Hello, Ross Peterson.
Listen, mid-40s guy that considers myself pretty technologically advanced. I did not know until we started this that it's totally free to subscribe to a YouTube channel.
You thought you had to pay to subscribe to YouTube?
I did. I had never subscribed to a YouTube channel until The Rush with Travis and Ross. And I did
and
that,
now
and
you've gone down rabbit holes,
God,
haven't you?
that's easy. And now, of course, as you know, I'm subscribed to multiple. And I'm learning about the Anunnaki. And last night I learned about the new stuff that they found underneath the pyramids. It's amazing.
Wow. And the Y-files. We learned last week that you've become, or earlier in the week, that you became a Y-file guy.
I've been a Y-files guy for a while. But listen, I want to warn people about that because it's goofy. And most of it is not true. Some of it is like, why the moon isn't real and how we live in a hollow earth and it's conspiracy theory stuff on steroids. And then the thing that pisses off a lot of people is he's got this little goldfish that sits in a tank next to him.
Is it like the old-timey goldfish bowl? It's just a little round bowl?
Yeah, and then the fish heckles him. So he does it's like him doing another voice. It's odd.
Like a ventriloquist?
Kinda in a way. I mean, it's a video thing, obviously, so he's just cutting it and putting it in. But that, one of my buddies was talking, my buddy Chris Flagg, the other day he was talking to me and he was like, "Hey, I heard you talking about something with Travis," because he's a big conspiracy theory guy too. He's like, "What was the thing you were talking about?" I said, "Oh, you've never heard of the Y-files?" He's like, "No." I go, "Dude, there's this thing about it I'm not sure you'd like. He's got this fish," and Flag went, "Oh, the heckle fish. I hate that guy. I won't watch that guy. I hate that stupid thing, man."
So he knew exactly what you were talking about.
He's like, "I've seen that idiot. I tried to watch him. I don't listen to him."
So I got a conspiracy for you.
Okay,
and
fire away.
This was all over my neck of the woods because this is weather is a fascinating phenomenon. It really is.
Huh.
The difference between Ross and I right now are separated by about 110 miles. Okay. And yesterday morning, I'm like, "Dude, I've got a blizzard here." And Ross was like, "What do you mean? I slept with the windows open. It's great. It got cold." Did it ever snow in Des Moines yesterday? Did it ever snow?
Not at all. I heard stories of pretty heavy hail, like on the northern and western suburbs in the northern part of town. I didn't experience any hail at all in Des Moines. No snow, and I don't think many people in central Iowa got snow that I know in the metro.
So we are separated by about 110 miles. I got a massive blizzard yesterday, and it started with thunderstorms, hail, thunder sleet, moved into snow. We probably got about, I would say, with drifting and everything. I mean, there was probably 4 inches of snow yesterday, but it was a wet, heavy snow. I mean, I'm 54 years old. I've shoveled snow all my life. Yesterday was the heaviest snow I've ever shoveled in my life. I got to the end of the driveway, and when I picked it up, you could see the river running underneath it, all the drainage. I mean, it was massively heavy.
And too heavy for the snow blower.
Way too heavy for the snow blower.
Clogged it up the whole, yeah.
Yeah. But
you're lucky. I'm not kidding you. Those are the heart attackers. Those are the widowmakers.
I agree. So, but here's the conspiracy theory. So we had massive wind. And during the night, there was an apparent dust storm in Texas. So the bottom layer of the snow was brown, okay?
Yes.
Oh, you had people on Facebook yesterday in the Omaha area talking about bioatmospheric engineering, and
It's the chemtrails, dude. It's the stuff they've been springing on us.
and I'm like, oh my God, do you really believe this stuff? And people were losing their mind yesterday over a brown layer of snow, saying we are being biochemically engineered through the weather, and that we need to wake up. And my wife and I are looking at each other, going, "Okay." A lot of stuff keeps people up at night. The political climate, and I just sit here and go, well, why do you worry about it? Now, it doesn't mean that I don't care. I just tend not to voice a lot of that, so you don't know how weird I am, right? It's that self-awareness of I have feelings. I'll get active in some things, but I don't need to announce it to the world because you may not agree with me, and I'm like, I don't need you to go, that whack job.
I don't care. I throw it out there. I let it fly.
Yeah, but I don't think you go that far off the deep end. There are some people I'm like, oh my God.
I try to do it with the same amount of like tongue in cheek that I digest it with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I try to disperse it with the same amount of, hey, this is kind of silly. This is kind of silly. The chemtrails thing is one of them. Like, do I really think that there are companies out there spraying dangerous chemicals onto the people and just doing it out in the open? No, I don't. Do I wonder what the hell is happening up there because my simple brain doesn't understand it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
and that's fair.
It is.
Like, I've got one friend on Facebook that shows a video of her going to each senator's and each congressman's office every single day to voice a protest over what's going on in Washington. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I appreciate your passion. I'm glad you're passionate about it. But sometimes it's too much to where people just go, you're losing it now. Do you go to work?
Your message gets lost in your delivery.
Yes, 100%.
You can have a great message. The preacher on the soapbox down at the supermarket or at the farmer's market. Great message. You're not converting anybody with that delivery.
No.
You're not doing what you think you're doing by standing there around the senator's office and screaming and yelling every day about something. You're lost in the noise.
So I was without power for 7 hours yesterday.
Real quick about the brown stuff, because we had that heavy rain. We had a little bit of a rainstorm came through the other night, 2 nights ago. What am I saying? Tuesday night. Same exact thing, Travis. All of our cars that were outside were covered in a layer of dirt. And I did go outside and I'm like, what the hell is this? How did it rain dirt on me? Well, a quick Google search said, yeah, you can see this radar track of dirt coming out of Houston. Dirt hole.
You ever been to Houston? It's a different city. It's a big city. I was without power.
But yeah, I don't remember much about it.
I was without power for 7 hours yesterday. That's how bad it was here. 7 hours. At one point, there were 60,000 people in my city without power.
Travis, I think the text that you sent me said 6,000.
No, it was 60,000 people were without power. This morning, Anjanette just looked, and there were still like 34,000 people without power. Greta's school still doesn't have power. We don't know if she's going to school today because they didn't have power. Now, so I had no power. It's my day off because I took an extra day of vacation to recover from my trip, and we couldn't do anything. And to add insult to injury, we got back from vacation. There's no food in the house. So finally, about 6 o'clock, I go, I got to get out of here. I've got to do something. Cabin fever setting in. I'm like, I'm going to go try to find us some food. Oh, buddy. Go to Hy-Vee, nothing.
Oh, yeah, looks like
nothing. Yeah. Nobody's there, and they didn't open the stuff. So I'm driving around. Taco Bell's closed.
Wait, Hy-Vee wasn't even open? I thought you were going to say the shelves had been ransacked.
No. Hy-Vee was open. You know how you can go in and buy Chinese food or stuff like that?
Yeah.
None of that was open. So they didn't make food.
I see what you're saying. And you can't, it doesn't help you to get stuff. You can't.
No. Okay. Yeah, because our oven doesn't turn on because we have no electricity. So then I go to Taco Bell's closed. McDonald's is closed. Freddy's is closed. Five Guys is closed. I found the only two places open on the main drag were Cane's and Panda Express. So I'm like, well, we're going to get a Caniac, okay?
Yeah.
Dude, the line was so long. And I'm not waiting in line for chicken fingers. I'm just not. I mean, it was, I would say it was at least 30 cars deep for chicken fingers. So I'm like, well, let's do Panda Express. It's right next door. It's 30 cars deep for Panda Express. So I finally find Pepper Jacks. You ever eaten at Pepper Jacks?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while, but I remember Pepper Jacks. They were a thing. Yeah. They were here for a minute.
Yeah, a Pepper Jacks was open, and I was able to get, a burrito and a Philly steak and cheese.
There you go. That's Philly steak and cheese is what I'd do at that place too.
So then the power finally popped on about 7 o'clock last night. So from about noon to 7 o'clock, no power whatsoever.
I did pull up the text. You did say 60,000. Holy cow, man,
that's a lot. That is a lot.
I'm a big Raising Cane's fan.
Oh, I like Raising Cane's.
Which combo you picking? They always have funny little things they say to you when you pull up to the drive-thru. I mean, it's not just the normal, can I take your order?
And don't get me wrong, I love chicken fingers. But their prices are outrageous, but they're really good chicken fingers.
It's the sauce. The chicken fingers are good. The chicken fingers are good. The breading is good. All the ingredients are good. It's that little spicy mayo sauce that they give you. That's the thing you're like. And the Texas toast, every once in a while, I really enjoy the Texas toast. I'm not a fast foodie. The kids love Panda Express. Not a fan.
I'm not a fast foodie either, but when you have no food, and I went to Hy-Vee, and they're not serving food, I'm like, then I'm calling pizza joints. I'm calling, nothing is open because everybody, full stoplight towers had come down. That's how heavy this snow was. There was probably, Owen called me on his way home from work, and he's like, Dad, it's like a war zone. All the stoplight towers have come down on certain drags. It was crazy. And then, of course, I've got the reason I went out and shoveled, I was going to wait. The snowplow came by. Now, with wet, heavy snow, it creates boulders, right? Absolute boulders. So they put it all in front of my driveway. I'm like, I can't do it. I'll have a heart attack.
Fiat ain't getting over the boulders.
Well, so I do the best I can, and then I back my car out, and I just start smashing it, right? Smashing it. So,
okay, I've done that.
Then I wake up this morning, and they went by at about 2. They went by last night and put it all back in front of my driveway. And now what has happened is starting to warm up. So what does that snow do in the night? It turns to ice. So I have ice. I've got ice boulders, and now I got to go back to work. Got to go back to work on March Madness. The Madness starts today. Have you filled out a bracket?
No, I have not. No, I haven't. Trav, I don't think I did last year. I can't remember. I kind of got my hand slapped because I was I didn't do that at the radio station.
I never did it at the radio station. I never did it at the radio station.
They always wanted us to do that to do the thing with the listeners and compete with them and stuff like that. But man, we were never giving away prizes. It was like, what?
Anyway, it was just.
So I didn't ever. It's just. Trav, it's weird. I don't do fantasy sports much anymore. I don't really like doing fantasy sports. I don't fill out brackets like this. And I think that part of it is that I hate that expectation that because I'm
in sports.
Oh, Ross is the guy on the radio. And it's like, God, I don't care. I don't care. You guys care a lot more than I do, I promise. And that's why you're going to be better at this. And then I just hate that idea of like, well, why is this guy? I don't know. Maybe I overthink all of that stuff like most people do. We become our own worst enemies, and you get locked up in your own head. But I don't even the prognostication stuff. That's not what I like to do. I like to react to stuff. I'm not a big prognosticator when it comes to sports.
Well, it's a crapshoot, right? I mean, you've got all these games, and it's one of those things. I promise you this. There are 10,000 to 1 million people who know more about sports than I do.
Oh, in Iowa.
The entire state of Iowa knows more about sports than I do. It's just, I like to think that I can talk about it in an entertaining and engaging way. What I like to do is just have conversations with people like yourself or people who call at 515-517-2303 and have a conversation. Now, the reason I asked you about your bracket, you and I were talking before we went on the air, and that is, and you're into the AI now. AI's doing all your meals. Pretty soon, it's going to be taking a shower for you. You're going to be doing everything artificially.
Listen, I'm just trying to stay ahead of the curve here. I really am, or stay with the curve. I'm not ahead of the curve. I can promise you that. I'm just trying to hang on to the coattails of this stuff as it flies by me.
Have you put on the AI goggles with Courtney yet and had the Demolition Man sex? Just curious.
No.
John Spartan. This is how we procreate now, John Spartan. But there's a professor in Illinois that is perfected.
Yeah. No, he hasn't perfected. This is such a great headline. Again, I love this website. It's an Iowa guy that made this website. It's called FARK, FARK.com. And it's basically filled with just goofy stories. And there's political stuff. I mean, there's, like most aggregate websites, there's categories. I find some of our goofy stuff that we talk about on the sports category. And perusing the sports category of FARK today, they take normal stories from news outlets, and then they repackage them, all right? So the repackaging says, you're filling out your bracket wrong, dumbass. But don't worry, AI can do it even wronger.
Wronger. So is wronger a word? Is wronger a word?
No, but that's part of the fun of FARK, right? So when you click on it, it's actually from WTOP News.
WTOP
News. And it's about a professor from the University of Illinois who has created an AI simulator. You can find that actually at bracketodds.cs.illinois. But if you just Google, maybe the best way to find this is with the guy's name. It's Sheldon Jacobson. Now this sounds like
Sheldon.
This sounds like a bit I'm doing.
Give it to me, Sheldon.
The Illinois professor Sheldon Jacobson.
Did you ever remember when Harry Met Sally? Her boyfriend on the way is Sheldon. He's like, "Oh, you don't have good sex with him because what do you scream? Give it to me, Sheldon. That a boy, Sheldon." If there are any Sheldons listening right now, I apologize.
Sorry
but
if you're a Sheldon out there.
Billy Crystal doing that was just something that sticks out of my mind. And my middle name is
Arthur, so I have no room to talk. But the whatever that stupid show was with the laugh track ruined it for you. Ruined it. We can't have kids named Adolf anymore. One guy ruined all of that. Okay, can't do that. Unfortunately, you name a kid Sheldon, I think you're handing him autism. Jacobson's webpage is an AI simulator for your bracket. So, and I had not clicked on that actual link. I was just reading the story. I just clicked on the link to see what this is. Essentially, how you do this when you fill out the bracket.
Do you have AI do it for you, or do you actually fill out a bracket?
You can do as minimal of inputs as you want. I just clicked on a button, and the AI simulated the bracket for me.
Who's winning the national title?
St. John's in Houston. It has St. John's winning the national championship. It has Iowa State in the Elite Eight, losing to Auburn.
Wow, but it has St. John. How weird would that be if Rick Pitino actually won a national title at St. John's?
I'd love it.
You know what?
Sign me up for the chaos. This is all theater. It's all for fun. That'd be fun.
It would be awesome.
Be fun. Let's see. Does this AI bracket that I just clicked on, did it have, it has Drake beating Missouri, but losing to Texas Tech. So anyway, the fun thing about this, the idea with this AI simulator thing is you can put in whatever inputs you want. If you want to do the Final Four, and in fact, the idea behind this was you are better off doing your bracket backwards. That was kind of one of the things that this guy comes up with, old Sheldon. Sheldon. I think of the guy in The Simpsons. Voiced by Hank Azaria. Yeah, he's the professor that always talks like this. I've discovered a simulation that can solve this bracket matrix for you. This guy figured out if you basically start with the Elite Eight and then go backwards to the field of 64 or 68, you're more accurate filling it out that way.
Makes sense.
Does it? I don't know. I'm just repeating what I said, or repeating what I've read and said. Speaking of not understanding things that you can read, did you know that there's a new form of matter?
A new form of matter.
Did you know that there's a new form of matter?
Like atomic matter? Are we talking like that type of matter?
So, I don't understand it. At all.
If you don't understand it, I'm sure as hell not going to understand it.
I can read what this thing is, and I don't get it. So yeah, you know how you have, solid liquids and gases.
Yes.
And then there's plasmas. That's right. There plasmas like a
sure.
Sure. Now Microsoft has not invented; they've discovered a new form of matter. It's called like topographical matter, something like that. I read the description of it. It's all in English. Individually, the words are words I know. The sentences make no sense to me. It's
so
wild.
you can touch the matter?
No, it's some sort of computing power that they have unlocked.
Interesting. Not really, but...
Not really. So speaking of things that I can tell you about but don't know.
A new form of matter. Boy. The rabbit holes we can go down. Was this on the Y-Files, or was this just
No. This was this was like a science news thing that I saw several weeks ago that was like, holy cow. This is the biggest science breakthrough, and it's going to change computing in the next couple of years. Once they figure this thing out, we're launching into, we just had a compounding leap in technology with this thing. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I want to learn about this. And I started reading it. And I'm like, oh, I don't understand this. So I went to smarter people, and I read it to them, and they said, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm like, oh, we're all screwed.
JB says, can you play solitaire and Minesweeper with that matter? That's what it sounds like. So what you need to do, Ross, is save that bracket and compare how
idea.
It really turns out.
Good idea.
So save that bracket.
Okay.
And see. Let's see how it compares. Because if we had a St. John's Houston final, I mean, it's as far as basketball elites, it's not a sexy matchup, but it kind of is when you look at maybe considered two of the crookedest coaches in college basketball history.
Dude, the Final Four. The Final Four is also Auburn and Wisconsin. So,
okay, you got three crooked coaches and one in Greg Gard, who we think is an upstanding guy. Bruce Pearl bends the rules a little bit. Has had a show cause. Rick Pitino, we all know Rick Pitino's history. Kelvin Sampson,
none of those
also
recruits,
in a show cause.
None of those recruits came because of those strippers.
None of them. Nobody comes to a school for a stripper.
Well, he didn't say that.
I'm about building relationships.
His quote was, none of those recruits came because of those strippers.
I don't think Rick Pitino got a show cause, but that would be weird because Kelvin Sampson got a show cause. He got like a 5-year show cause, and I believe Bruce Pearl got a show cause. It shows you that second chances do exist.
Second chance.
In some cases, third chances.
I love it. Travis looks at it as these are redemption stories.
I do. It's the redemption Final Four.
Okay. This is funny. That is funny because when I see that 3 of those 4, I go, man, pays to cheat.
And that's why I want Iowa to get somebody to bend the rules a little bit.
It's that priorities conversation, Travis. If your priority is winning and then doing it the right way, Final Fours, baby.
Yes.
Final Four. Or we can roll the dice with Greg Gard and TJ Otzelberger and try to do it the right way.
The right way. But you know what? Every one of these schools says? We do it the right way.
Dude, I'm sure we're going to get into West Virginia and Darren and what happened yesterday with Indiana.
Yep.
Everybody does this. This is why I tried to push back yesterday on that thing of like, well, Iowa's a great place to raise a family. Yeah, every place thinks they're a great place to raise a family. With the exception of like Flint and Gary. Everybody thinks that they live in a wonderful place to raise a family.
And when you say Gary, you mean Gary, Indiana. A lot of people may not know Gary, Indiana is like the murder capital of the world. 515-517-2303. That is the number to call if you want to participate in the show. The NCAA basketball tournament starts today. We'll get to that with Justin Miller maybe joining us at 7 o'clock. He's not confirmed. Bruno's going to be popping in at 7:30. You mentioned Darren DeVries. He was introduced as the Indiana basketball coach yesterday. He said something quite interesting that leads you to believe, like, when did the negotiation for the job start? We'll discuss when we come back on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Spring is coming up, and it's a time for cleaning and renewal. Get your spring cleaning started early with a fuel induction service from Willis Volvo Cars. This service cleans out carbon buildup and other deposits from the fuel injectors, intake valves, and combustion chambers. This service can provide fuel efficiency, performance, and power to make sure your Volvo is ready for spring and summer travel. Right now, we are offering 10% off a fuel induction service, so give us a call or head online to willisvolvocars.com.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge. Hey guys, my name is Mason Miller. I'm the Infinity Sales Manager out here at Willis Infinity, and this month we are springing ahead with some great deals. Currently this month we are doing 1.9% out to 72 on all QX50 and 55 models. Also this month we are doing $3,000 conquest on eligible models for the QX80. Stop at our showroom or visit us online at willisinfinity.com.
It's the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. You need a car, an SUV, a truck. Willis Automotive is the place to go. Make sure to listen to the Rush Radio Show all day long by going to therushradio.com. Hit that listen live link. You'll be able to pick the show up in progress all day long. Or if you want to start from the very beginning, the podcast version is right there as well. What do you think there, buddy?
Nothing.
You know, North Carolina State has hired Will Wade to be its new head coach. Will Wade is 42 years old. Talking about crooked coaches. I mean, but to your point of you'd want to win. Sometimes you're willing to take a chance on somebody who has, I don't know, maybe bend the rules a little bit. He was fired from LSU. A lot of stuff. He was caught on the FBI wiretaps bragging about how much they were paying players. But Will Wade will be the new head coach at North Carolina State. The weird thing about this is McNeese State, where he's at right now, where he's only lost like 8 games in his 2 years as head coach, is still playing in the NCAA basketball tournament. They play Clemson today. So Will Wade, the reports are out there, Will Wade's going to be the next head coach at North Carolina State. He's still coaching McNeese State, going to coach them in the NCAA tournament. And this is kind of a rarity. You don't hear this that often of a coach that is already announced his next job before they're done with the season, right? So his players at McNeese know he's done. Whenever their season is over, Will Wade is going to leave. Yesterday, Darren DeVries was officially announced as the new head coach at Indiana. Well, it happened the day before, but he had his press conference. And he was asked about the process. Now, there are some people who say, well, you know, Darren DeVries was Indiana's like 3rd or 4th choice. We don't really know that. We may have some ideas that may be the case. But he talked about the process that he went through to take the Indiana job. And what he said was all over social media last night. So since it was all over social media, we might as well play it as well. Here's what Darren DeVries had to say. And did he have a little slip up here?
Obviously, the process, you know, is the process on how it plays out. And, you know, as you're going through their season, they were, you know, very respectful of making sure that my focus continued to be on our team. And you know, certainly appreciated that.
So the process was the process. And as we were going through the season, they were very respectful of me focusing on my team. That, now, call me crazy. Call me one that kind of reads into something, but Darren kind of implied there, right, that they were talking during the season. Wouldn't you get that implication?
Kind of implies there. What the hell are you talking about? It kind of implies there.
Well, he didn't come out and directly say it.
He straight up says throughout the season they were respectful, not throughout. As we were going through the season, they were respectful of me. Is it very possible that that's just a slip up? And basically he was talking about like these last couple of weeks, you know what I mean? As we were getting to the end of this season and the Indiana job became available, man, When do these conversations start?
Well, you and I were talking before the show started, and we would all be foolish to believe that coaches who are in line for jobs are not talking to potential employers about that job. We would be foolish right now to believe that Ben McCollum has not at least had through an intermediary, I can't even say the word. Intermediary. I don't know why I can't say that word. Has not at least had some contact, right? And sometimes we don't want to hear the truth. You said it best. We don't want to know the truth. And the truth is,
we don't. And when we hear the truth, we get angry about it. Which that's okay. It's okay to have a negative reaction to stuff and go, wait a minute. Again, I steal this from my dear mentor, bless his soul, Jan Michelson. You get mugged by reality. That's what the feeling is. Where all of a sudden you go, no, wait, no. Oh, that's the truth? Shit. I just got mugged by reality. Now I live in this world where I know more and I'm more in tune with what's actually happening around me. Am I more of a conspiracy theorist because I trust less? Yes. Yes.
Like they released the JFK files yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have time, nor does it really interest me to go through those files and find out what happened.
Do you know what they were hiding from us, Trav?
No, I have no idea.
That the CIA, basically a lot of CIA information, and that they knew about Lee Harvey Oswald. They were monitoring Lee Harvey Oswald long before this happened. We kind of knew that stuff. But for the most part, the redacted information that we've been holding back all this year was there was very personal, like Social Security numbers for people that worked with the CIA that are still alive. So that's why they were like, hey, don't release all this stuff because there's personal information for some of these things. Anyway, it does seem like there's a lot of CIA stuff that they're hiding. The MLK thing is the same thing, and this is from what I read, like in the New York Times and in some other publications last night. Trying not to just trust what was on the internet.
But you look at these files, and sometimes they don't release this stuff because, to quote Jack Nicholson in the movie, A Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. Yeah, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. That's a really good analogy, Travis, or callback to that, because that's kind of what we're talking about. And it's the same thing, by the way, with players and coaches. You know, a kid is getting recruited by 7 different universities, right? He chooses to go to University 1. Universities 2 through 7, they continue to follow him on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, and they continue to message him, hey, man, saw you had 22 points against UNC Greensboro. Great game. Why are they doing that? Are they doing that because they love the kid and they want to be his buddy? Or are they doing that because in case something isn't going right behind the scenes there, they've still got that in? It's option 2.
100%.
So would you call that tampering? If you do call, every team is doing that.
You know that line? It's going right up to the line,
isn't it?
Yes.
And I saw somebody wrote in the thing earlier and said maybe this is why Beth gets missed out on Darren DeVries, because she wasn't playing. You know, she is doing it the right way, and integrity mattered, and her priority list is doing things the right way, respecting the rules, getting the right guy. And Indiana's priority list was getting the right guy, get the second best guy, get the third best guy, get a bag of money, and again, their priority seriously is win.
100%.
Win. W-I-N now. That's what their priority is. And so when you get to that point, it's like, throw him the bag of money. Call him. Call his agent. Doesn't one even know his brother? Call his brother. Didn't one of you go to school with his wife or something like that? Like, get the ball rolling. Come on.
And that's why they were able to make a hire before the NCAA tournament. NC State has made a hire before the NCAA tournament, and their coach is still coaching in the NCAA tournament.
Trav, I had not heard that Darren DeVries was their third option. Let's just say that's true. Think about what that means then. That means Indiana was working on if Darren was their third option and his slip up was, as we were going through the season. And again, let's just use the naive, optimistic view of what that interpretation of what that means. That in the last couple of weeks, they talked to him. Leading up to the Big 12 tournament, they talked to him. Let's just say it's that. If he was their third option, if he was their second option, that means that they were moving those balls back in January?
Possibly.
So I don't like none of this stuff is stuff we will find. Like Indiana's never going to come out and go, man, we're lucky we got Darren because he was our third option.
Yeah, and that's what I said yesterday. Even with the Beth Getz search, we were doing these are our opinions. Nobody will ever know the truth of both sides except for Beth Getz and the Indiana search team, right? Nobody.
We worked for a boss at one time that loved to take big swings. When a job was open, he'd say things like, "Hey, if we called Bob Costas," people would be like, "What are you talking about?" Like, why not? What if Bob Costas was just talking to his wife about moving to Des Moines, Iowa? Who knows?
Doesn't hurt to ask.
What if Beth Getz is like, I actually called Coach Mike Krzyzewski. The first name on my list was Mike Krzyzewski. Ever heard of him?
Greg McDermott's name was mentioned a lot for the Indiana job. On the Vegas boards, he was actually the odds-on favorite.
Really? Okay.
Now, I don't think Greg was ever going to leave Creighton. He's got a really good job. But maybe Indiana was calling Greg McDermott, and those were getting out there because they were asking about Darren DeVries. I mean, you want to do background checks. You want to do character checks. You want to say, hey, does he have the wherewithal to deal with the fishbowl that is Indiana? So there could have been conversations with Greg McDermott, but those conversations were more about Darren DeVries than they were Greg McDermott. I'm just saying, I have a hard time believing that your fourth choice is hired before the NCAA basketball tournament. I do.
Again, we'll never know, and I hadn't heard that at all. You're the first person I'd heard say that that it was that far down. The interesting thing to me yesterday was the West Virginia fans' response, which is expected and justified, right?
100%.
Totally justified for them to be angry about. Man, wait, the coach just... Where were you?
Yeah, in the loss to Colorado more than anything, because that kept them out of the NCAA basketball tournament. Kept them out.
And your kid came, we paid you a bunch of money, paid the kid some money, and then he's hurt after you guys play in a tournament where Indiana was there. Man, this is some JFK files stuff. Right? You're starting to build this conspiracy and all these little dots connect. And then he goes back to say, oh, yeah, throughout, as we were going through the season, they were very respectful. So I think Tucker was hurt. I think Tucker would have played if he could have played because he was probably going to get drafted and you don't risk that stuff. I don't know. Is it possible that Indiana snuck into their hotel room that night and said, hey, listen. We got bags of cash. If you can tuck him away for a year, we can get another senior year out of him in Indiana. You think West Virginia supported you and paid you?
That's not happening.
I don't think that did either. What I'm saying is this is how a West Virginia fan does those mental gymnastics, which those are not hard.
And by the way, we would be doing the same thing if it was an Iowa State fan. Yes.
Whenever yes, you're absolutely right, Travis.
I mean, because you want to believe, you need to make yourself feel better, and you need to create an enemy there. Somebody emailed me, and you can email us whenever you want, Travis@therushradio.com or Ross@therushradio.com. Why would you leave after a year? It's out of character for Darren to do that. He was at Creighton for so long, gave 6 years to Drake, 1 year at West Virginia. We'll never know the truth behind why you want to, but I did say this. Indiana has not been good for a long time. but it's still a really good job. And in the in the college basketball world, it's probably one of the top 5 jobs in America. You could say UCLA.
Wow.
You could say Kentucky, Duke,
Wow, you think
Carolina,
top
Indiana.
5? Wow.
As far with history, tradition, everything that goes with it, I do believe it's one of the if not 6, because you got to throw Kentucky in there. I mean, those are those blue bloods that everybody talks about. So if you throw the money out, we haven't heard how much money he's going to make yet, but we do know the buyout's going to be around $6 million and that's a lot of money. And then you got to pay your old coach a 7-figure payout because you asked him to go away. So the Indiana payout for everything could reach $8 to $9 million just
before
to hire a coach.
Before you get the salary.
Before you get the salary. I mean, that's a lot. And do you pay for your 4th choice $6 million to buy out? Because to me, when you start going down the rung, you may be desperate, but you can get somebody a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper. It's just an interesting thing to think about. And again, nobody's ever going to know the full truth except the people that were directly involved with it. Beth Getz on the Iowa side, the athletic director at the Indiana side. Now, of course, Darren DeVries did not take the Iowa job. My question is this, Ross. Josh Dix went in the transfer portal yesterday. So you have Brock Harding, Owen Freeman, Sanford, and Dix into the transfer portal. Do one or more of those 4 end up at Indiana?
Oh, I had not thought of that. I guess I don't know any of DeVries' connection to those guys.
Well, Sanford, because, his son, they played together at Waukee, so it would be...
Then maybe Price ends up over there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Travis, I don't know. That could be. Price, a good young player, given the right opportunity, and that could be. I don't know. And I'm not going to oh my God, what was DeVries, conniving behind friends? No. No. We knew all year long that this was probably Fran's year to be gone. So I don't blame any of these kids for having conversations if they were, not that they were. Let's talk about these Iowa transfers for a minute, because first of all, what I thought your question was going to be, how many of these 4 actually end up back in Iowa? Because let's not forget that door's open.
Yes, it is.
It could be that they're waiting to see who the coach is, that they're just putting their foot out there to see what the opportunities are, and I wouldn't blame them a bit for doing that thing. They should. If they do go, what does that mean for Iowa? And we enjoyed the time with them. Glad they came here. Wish them the best. I'll always think of those names as Iowa guys. When I hear Owen Freeman, I'll think of it the same way that I do when I see Spencer Petras. And I know he was here longer, but I'll think of it as, oh, yeah, I remember when that dude wore my logo. Yeah, wonder how he's doing. Hope he's doing well. If Price Sanford is at Indiana playing for DeVries, I will find myself for the first time kind of rooting for Indiana. Not rooting against him, not hating Indiana, because now I know one dude and I feel a little tiny connection to one of their players. More of a connection of, hey, that guy's from my town. That's the connection that this is cool. Yeah, that's why I know your name, Owen Freeman. Price Sanford? The Sanford name. I know that name. Why do I know that name? Oh, yeah, because that's people in my community. I know people who say, oh, yeah, my kid went to school with them. Those are good kids. That's a nice family. I go to church with them. That's a connection that will follow you, right? I wish these kids the best, and at no point am I like, oh, my God, all these guys are transferring. We should have kept Fran. No.
Hey,
it all needed to change. It all needed blown up.
And by the way, don't be freaking out because kids are going into the transfer portal. John Calipari had to start with absolutely nothing at Arkansas.
Exactly.
Has his team in the NCAA tournament.
Over and over and over. We can see these examples of it. It gets nauseating to even say it's a new world. You can change this thing in a day.
Ben McCollum started with what?
Zero.
One holder? Zero.
Right, exactly.
That was it.
Darren DeVries did it. TJ Otzelberger did it. TJ's the one that we should look at and say that's what you're trying to replicate because he did it at that level, and it has this team at the level where AI thinks they're an Elite Eight team. That's what you aspire to, is to do it that quickly. Because, to be honest, things might be bad in Iowa City. They're not as bad as they were in Ames when Steve Prohm went winless in the Big 12. So you're not at that bottom. Do you have what is available there on the launch pad to build the rocket ship and do what TJ did? I don't think you do, because it's a different world even now. A couple of years ago when TJ took over, he could do it with recruiting on the promise that, hey, I know this world's going to change, but he could recruit. Now you got to show up with the bag. And Iowa doesn't have it right now.
You ever heard of the book "Who Moved Your Cheese"? Your cheese is moving, and if you don't move, if you don't move with the cheese, you're going to be left out. Here's Darren DeVries yesterday. We're talking about rosters because that's the big question. A lot of Indiana players are going to the transfer portal, much like a lot of Iowa players are. This is Darren talking about building a roster at Indiana. Might have given you an insight of what he would have done if he would have ended up at Iowa.
You got to have a certain level of talent, but then the teams that can do, defensive rebounding, taking care of the ball, playing together, playing unselfish, the teams that can do that the best typically are the teams that have the most success, and that'll be our focus when we put a roster together, is make sure those things are all priorities. And you certainly want to have as much talent as you can, but that talent has to be able to play together. So when we put that roster together, that's going to be our focus.
He's not wrong. You can go.
How
you can go get all this.
Yeah. How are you going to win basketball games, Coach? I'm going to go get good basketball players. I need guys that can. That's kind of like, remember the Baylor kid who was talking about, and after the NCAA game several years ago, they're like, yeah, you out-rebounded Arkansas 43-27. How did that happen? And the kid goes, well, when the shot goes up and it comes off the rim, you jump into the air and you grab the ball, and when you come down with it, that's called a rebound, and we did that more than the other team. Or they did that more than us, however the question was.
But what we're talking about today is so different than what we were talking about yesterday. We heard Fran McCaffrey on that podcast when he said, call me naive. I just want to go build relationships, get guys and have those guys over 4 years. In today's day and age, if you're not running guys in, 5 to 6 new guys in the portal, you might have a nice team. You're not going to have a great team.
You might have that classic college basketball team. And some fans would say, that's what I want. Damn it, I want the Sanfords that stick around for 4 years and are passionate about that cry when they walk off the court for the final time after 4 years. I'm invested that way emotionally. I want my guys to be invested that way emotionally. That's fine. Again, it's a priorities conversation. Darren DeVries just used the word. How are you going to win? I got my priorities right. I'm going to get the right guys that can play my style of basketball that I think wins. And I'm going to bring them here and put them in your clothes, and we're going to go and try to win basketball games. You guys good with that? Or do you want me to get your guys and put them into your clothes and then try to win? Because I can't do all three of those things. I can get your guys and put them in your clothes.
But that's not going to guarantee wins.
I'm not going to win. If you want me to win in your clothes, I got to have my guys. And my guys are going to turn over a lot. I mean, look, Rick Pitino's thing the other day. Hey, what high school kids you recruiting? I'm not. Why? Because winning is my priority. Not creating young men into great men. I'm not the Army. And we've done this with college sports way too often, where we grandize it into something that, there's nothing like a locker. We've been there. We've all been there. You're right. There's a brotherhood that comes from it. Don't give me this. There's nothing like it. Don't give me this thing of like, oh, it's so special. You don't know because you weren't there. Everybody says that. Everybody says that. Everybody's experience is a little bit different. So what you're trying, again, what is your priority? If you're at Grandview University, your priority should be, I want to get good kids. I want to turn these young men into great men. But when a coach who's making millions of dollars, Dabo Swinney, stands up and says, my priority is great men. No, it's not.
His priority is to win national titles because he's won national titles. And what has happened since Clemson has slipped? People are like, well, is Dabo the right guy for the job? Yeah. He's changed and got back in the college football playoff. I mean, no coach takes a job wanting to lose. But if your philosophy is different than today's landscape, and again, you don't have to like the landscape. It's just what you're driving into.
Don't.
Yes.
And Travis, let's talk about the landscape for a minute, because I am talking out of both sides of my mouth right in a way. For years, I've said, fans, don't pay. Don't give into this. The system is broken. They've got to fix it. They've already got all of our cash. Don't give them more. And now I look around and go, oh, Hawkeye fans, you got to give more. You got to give more if we're going to get a coach that wants to win, because we can't win unless we have bags of money.
But I don't look at you talking out both sides of your mouth. What I see is, and you're not a flip-flopper politician, what you are is seeing the reality of the situation. And you want to win as a fan, and you're starting to realize, well, guess what? I understand now that for this to happen and to compete, the fans are going to have to give. If not,
it doesn't work right now. You know, Travis, what I think happens, man, I don't even think that this happens. What I hope happens, what I think should happen, is all of this stuff goes in-house and the university restructures all of the money.
Well, I think you're starting with that $21 million payroll, right?
Yes,
I think we're starting with that.
It's starting down that road. Now, that doesn't answer the question today. Because, again, you said on Monday you wanted to have a coach by Saturday. And a lot of people said, got to have a coach, got to get one, because now you can get players.
I said that because West Virginia opted not to play in a postseason tournament, and I thought it was going to be Darren DeVries was going to be the head coach.
And
that's what I thought.
And you wanted to be a correct prognosticator.
Yes. I would. You know how many victory laps I would have been taking? I've been, look at me, I'm smart. 517-2303. That's the number to call if you want to participate in the show. We're going to continue to talk about the NCAA basketball tournament. Drake in action tonight, taking on Missouri. That game's down in Wichita. It is the Rush Radio Show at therushladio.com.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines, Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig plantation rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
My name is Corey Allen, and I'm a recon tech at Willis Automotive. Worked here for about a year and 3 months. Was an express tech before this. I was in the automotive field before I came here. Needed a different change of pace from, the management and everything, and someone who already works here, who liked how everything was ran, told me about it, told me that there was a spot open, and told me to give it a shot, and I've liked it ever since. A lot of good people that work here. Everyone's willing to share their knowledge. Yeah, I would say that's about it.
If you have a pest problem with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Willis Automotive powers the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, thank you so much. You have to look at our ugly faces every day. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel. Yes, you can subscribe, and it's absolutely free, as Ross learned recently. And also hit those notifications so you know when we do go live. Follow us on X at Rush Mornings, or just search The Rush with Travis and Ross on Instagram and Facebook.
I don't want you to make it sound like I just subscribed to the YouTube channel. I mean, I did when we created it back in January.
So for a month and a half ago, Ross finally goes, "Oh, I can subscribe and I don't have to pay for this. It's free."
And now I'm watching a lot of stuff on YouTube, loving it.
It's interesting. I mean, YouTube is the staying power of YouTube is incredible, right? Because it's just been there. It was like the original, and people just go there and watch. It is the how-to source. My wife fixes everything around the house. I'll go downstairs, and Owen's working on the studio, and he's watching YouTube videos on how to do certain stuff. So we don't teach you a damn thing. We Ross, this is not an instructional video. We can't teach you anything.
This is the coffee club. It's us sitting here BSing with each other, and the comment section is great because I look at that as the folks that come in, and it's like, morning, boys. Morning, Dusty. Hey, you guys paying attention to wrestling? Hey.
It is a conversation.
Hey, did you see that? He was talking about wrestling. Wrestling's happening.
Sometimes I wonder, these guys talking on the comments, if they're even listening to the show. Yeah. It's like, okay, I'm glad you're all talking to one another, but can you listen to us? Just give us your undivided attention for 2 hours. That's all we're asking. But you can also leave a comment by giving us a call. Yes, we take live phone calls, 515-517-2303. NCAA basketball tournament does start today. Drake's going to be in action tonight, taking on Missouri. That game's going to be in Wichita. 30 wins. Dennis Dodd from CBS.com, he had a big article on Ben McCollum today about being the hot name in college basketball. He did point out, and we haven't really talked about it that much, but we've had Ben on a couple times right before the Missouri Valley Conference tournament, then on Monday as well. And we've asked him about the job search. And subconsciously, I knew what was going on, but I never really articulated it like Dennis Dodd did in this article, and you can find it at CBSSports.com, is that every time we've asked Ben McCollum about, other jobs, he's never given his, a lot of coaches will give you coach speak. Oh, I love it here, which he said that, and I'm committed, right? He hasn't said, I'm not taking another job.
Never. No. Man, Travis, I'm glad that you said that because, like you said, I think
subconsciously,
that's a subconscious thing that we knew, but we hadn't said it, and maybe subconsciously I didn't know it until you said that. Because I absolutely acknowledge that is true. That he has been very, very open, honest, candid with us. he doesn't do that thing of, oh, guys, listen, I'm just focused on Missouri. I got 15 guys who blah, blah, blah. No, that you just nailed it, or Dennis Dodd did, I guess. More specifically,
I'm going to give him credit for it.
That's what we saw when we were talking to him the other day. That's what we saw. Was that
deflect? It was deflect, not deny. It was deflect.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, he can't deny it.
No,
and I think that's maybe what we appreciated about that is that even when you can't deny it, some guys do, right? And that comes across as fake and phony, and you go, oh, crap, I don't like this guy. And Ben McCollum didn't do that. And that's why we walked out of that and went, we really like this guy.
There was a certain amount of just authenticity and, okay, you're a straight shooter. I shouldn't say straight shooter. But you answer a question because you're never going to get the truth, because if you say something outlandish, that just sets off rumors and innuendo.
I mean, dude,
but I guess straight shooter and is like, I'm not going to give you the full answer, but you can kind of read into what I'm saying, right? And that is, it's not that I'm not listening to other jobs. I got a job to do here, but I'm more than willing to probably listen to other opportunities, which he should. Nothing against Drake. Nothing against Drake. And Drake is a stepping stone job.
Dude, look at this. Tyler has a great comment here. Okay, series of comments, and we don't need to necessarily show them. Brian Harden. Talk about tip of the cap time to Brian Harden. His last 3 coaches might, within 2 weeks, all 3 be in the Big Ten. We know DeVries is going to be. Nico Medved and Ben McCollum. Whatever he's done for his list to have those coaches at the ready, I'm interested to see, and I'd imagine certain people in the college basketball world are interested to see who's going to be next in that list, because this thing has become a launching pad.
Because you can win at Drake. It's been Nico Medved won at Drake. And by the way, Nico Medved turned a roster around as well. Yeah. He brought in new guys, won, and he was there 1 year. And I don't blame him for taking the Colorado State job. He has Colorado State in the NCAA tournament. He's believed to be the front runner for the Minnesota job. Darren DeVries goes to West Virginia, now to Indiana. And there's no reason to think that Ben McCollum is not in line for the Iowa job. So you can win. And there's not people like Ben Jacobson, who you and I, by the way, lost in the NIT last night, they don't exist anymore at that level. Most guys at that level in the Missouri Valley Conference and these mid-majors, their goal is to get to the next one. I commend Ben for this, because I'm sure he's turned down life-changing money over the course of his career. But sometimes you go, you know what? I can coach the way I want to coach here. And I commend that. But I believe there are other guys who go, you know what? I want to win the national title. I want to at least have that opportunity to have the resources and a conference that I can compete at the very highest level. Why do college football coaches go to the National Football League? Yeah, money's part of it, but sometimes you want to win a Super Bowl.
Right. What did I think about when I was a little kid? You know,
I wanted to play for the Yankees.
Right. Wanted to be in the majors, or wanted to be an NFL coach, wanted to be Tom Landry or Vince Lombardi. Some people, I wanted to be the head coach at Iowa.
You know, Ben McCollum, the knock on Ben McCollum, and to me, this was an interview-style question. I think he was, again, this is me reading into things. Here are the tea leaves. This is what he said. This is what it says. What's been the big knock on Ben McCollum? It's the style of play, right? It is like, if you hire Ben McCollum, you're getting Todd Licklider style basketball. He was asked yesterday about the tempo of the game and the slow play. And just listen to his answer and say, would you say this to an athletic director? Because I think you would.
It's not that we try to slow it down. It's that it is difficult for us to get a shot because of the athleticism on the other side of the ball. Certain games we're able to play a little bit faster and have more possessions. Obviously, Mizzou, I don't know. Defensively, they run quite a few defenses. So you kind of just have to take what they give you. You know, if it's 5 seconds in, then you need to shoot it. If it's 25 seconds in, then shoot it. But our intent isn't necessarily to just slow the game down per se. You know, obviously the SEC is a fast league and an athletic league. Mizzou's very athletic. They play very fast. They're very well coached. They're a tough matchup for anybody in the country, to be quite honest.
What he's saying is, this is what I got. This is how I can best win, and this is why our tempo, we don't mean to slow it down, but when we're playing really athletic teams, we got to take them out of their rhythm. Did I read into that too much?
No. Oh. You know who that sounded like? That's Kirk Ferentz. That's Kirk Ferentz. Does that something you say to an athletic director? Yeah. And it also goes back to that thing we said about sometimes being honest and saying the thing that everybody goes, yeah, he's right. And then you go, wait, did he just say his guys aren't as good as the other team?
No, he said we're not as athletic as the other team.
What he said there was the thing that all of us know going into a game like this. Man, that SEC team is super athletic and going to be really tough. And Drake is Drake. And if he's in the locker room saying to those guys, we're the same type of athlete they are. They put their shorts on one leg at a time just like you do.
We can go toe-to-toe.
And then you go out there and they're all 6'8" and run a 4.40 up and down the court, and you go, Coach lied to us. But if he says to you and to everybody, hey, by the way, these are some dudes, but here's what we have. Here's what we do that they haven't seen. We're going to prepare for all their defenses. We're going to do the same thing we did of slow it down, get the right shot. That Travis, in a way, that's what he said to us too. When we were talking about that, he said, "Listen, we're just out there playing good defense and then trying to get the right shot." Now, when you see that stat where they were 30% more field goals in the last 5 seconds of a shot clock than the second most in NCAA this year, it's like 280 to 210, something like that. Crazy. That's indicative of intentionally slowing it down because you weren't there wasn't that athletic gap all year long in the Missouri Valley that he's talking about here with Missouri.
Yes.
Okay. That's a great answer. It's the right answer.
It's the right answer. It's like we didn't intentionally do it, or we did, but here's the reason why. And Bennett Sturch, your Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year, they're going to be undersized. And by the way, even in the Missouri Valley Conference, they were undersized. You had Division II guys come in. And Bennett Sturts talked about the undersized Bulldogs taking on a very athletic Missouri team yesterday, and it's nothing they haven't seen yet this year.
I think we've been dealing with it all year. We're pretty undersized, and we're used to it. We had a good, strong non-conference schedule, so we played teams like Vandy, K-State. We were undersized there, so I'd say we're used to it, and it's going to be a physical game, and we'll be ready for it.
See?
Yeah, exactly. And we talked about that a little bit, that they'd had not only those challenges against those tough teams early in the year, then they also have Miami on the schedule.
Yeah, they beat Miami, yeah.
So, I mean, you had some of those athletic teams, and not only did you compete with them, you beat them. So there is a confidence that's going to come from that as well. Confidence is another thing. I'm glad that word slipped out of my brain there, because that's something you see with Ben McCollum.
Oh, he's a confident dude. There's no doubt about it.
It's not cocky. There's something when you're listening to him talk where you go, this guy knows his shit.
515-517-2303. Let's go to the phones. Well, hold on.
I like this. Maybe go to the phones.
Let's see.
Because I've been waiting for one phone call since we got the news about Fran. I've been waiting to hear from our buddy Derek from New Sharon. I thought
he's calling back. He's calling back.
Oh, was it Derek? I figured.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't have the call. I don't have a call screener. So
call
I didn't know
screener's
it was
coming
him.
up. It's doing the AI auto screen right now.
Okay.
So hold on real quick. Let's see. Derek in New Sharon. Welcome to the Rush Radio Show at therushladio.com.
How are we doing this morning, Justice? You finally get back from laying around butt naked, drinking wine, and fornicating for 10 days. Woo, nice to hear from you, bud.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I wasn't fornicating, though.
Oh.
I might have been butt naked.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Yesterday I tried to call in, but I couldn't get on. But I did hear the show. You guys are talking about Fran, and he said he's easy to get along with. He's pretty funny. He's about as popular as a fart in the middle of an orgy. What is he on? There's something wrong with this guy. And you do not want Ben McCollum. I'll tell you that, Hawkeyes, but go ahead and hire him.
Why don't you want him?
That style ain't going to attract the athletes you need to play in the Big Ten.
We were just talking about it. His style has been adapted to how he can compete. I think he gave a brilliant answer.
Yeah, that was a good answer, but I don't know. But whatever. Clone women got a good win. I don't know if it's good or not. Beat a little Ivy League school, but whatever.
It's a win.
I don't like our. I think I got North Carolina beating us in the second round.
Really?
You fill out a women's bracket, Derek? 19% of America fill out a women's bracket, Travis. Did you know that?
No, that's
number, a shocking stat.
Either that or people just like gambling.
I thought, Derek, I thought you were serious.
Don't fill
for a
out no
second.
women's bracket.
Okay, I should have known. Fell for that. Sorry.
He just sucked you in, man. Sucked you in.
I trust Derek. See what happens? I trust Derek.
You trust everybody. You do. You trust everyone. I trust no one. That's my problem. My problem is I trust no one. You trust everyone.
Hey, I want to give. I thought Derek would do some dancing, a little bit more dancing on the Fran Graves. So I'm glad he didn't necessarily take that opportunity. What's going to happen tomorrow? Go ahead.
I'm kind of heartbroken about it. I kind of wanted him to stick around. Although I can't stand the guy, but I did meet Fran one time at a softball tournament. I did say, "Hey, coach," and he said, "How you doing?"
See, nice guy.
Yeah, pretty popular standing out there by himself. But anyway.
All right, Derek.
Well, you guys have a good week. I got to go give him a good another 4 or 5 hours and go get blitz and watch some basketball.
Sounds good, buddy. Have some blue yummies.
See ya.
See ya.
All righty.
Insights with Derek.
Never disappoints.
Sometimes he disappoints.
Yeah, he does. He does.
But the nice thing about him is when he disappoints, you get to call him out on it, and he'll usually own up to that.
That's true. I have some upset watches today. You know, if 19% of America fills out a women's bracket, what's the percentage of people that fill out a men's bracket?
I had this up yesterday, Travis. It's close. It was like 40%, I think, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's like 30 or 40%. In that 30, I'll look it up. I'll get the number for you because it was in an article I saw yesterday.
Both those numbers are pretty high. If you would have told me 19% yesterday, and you told me today, I'm like, wow, that's a big number. 40% of America fills out a men's bracket. That's probably more people than vote in a general election.
I remember seeing the number and thinking, hey, that's pretty close. Okay, survey shows that, hold on, I had it here. This is the Associated Press. I found the article I was on yesterday. Oh, geez. Come on.
Jeopardy music.
I'm sorry, Trav.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm sorry. 16% of U.S. adults fill out a women's tournament bracket.
Okay, 16. That's still high.
Yeah, that's higher than I anticipated. My goodness, come on. Why can I see the women's thing but not the men's?
Because maybe that's an even shocking number to the reporter who wrote the story. Just maybe. Might be more of a shocking number.
This says, wait a minute. 56% of adults say that. I'm sorry. 56% consider it gambling. Why can't I find the freaking number? I'm sorry.
It's only gambling. Like, you can fill out a bracket just for the hell of it, and it's not gambling. If you have the possibility of winning money at the end of it, that's gambling. Do you consider filling out a bracket gambling?
Yeah, I think if you made me dial down on it, I would say if you're putting anything at stake, filling out a bracket for free, no. If you're filling out a bracket, just clicking on CBS Sports or ESPN or one of those things and clicking through a bracket for you and your buddies, if you're putting money into something, absolutely that's gambling. Now, what does that mean? Is that wrong? No. But is it gambling? Yeah. What else would you call it?
Well, and I think Chris says it on the chat. He says, if you pay into a pot, then it is. But you're right. If it's a free one, that's not gambling because there's no risk for you.
Exactly.
Gambling has to have risk with
risk in it, and for a potential reward, that's gambling, and there's nothing wrong with that.
If there's no risk with reward,
that's the word we use in English for that.
If there's no risk, meaning you don't put any money in, but there's still a reward, that's just like a drawing. I may be able to.
There you go. All right, Trav. So this is a shocking number. This is shockingly low. So it turned out that what I had seen yesterday with that 30% number, it's 26% of adults say they fill out a bracket every year.
That's not shockingly low. That's a quarter of adults in America. That's a lot of people.
Why I think that's low is because I would have thought there was a bigger disparity between the men's and women's number.
Oh.
The women's number is higher than I thought at 14%. The men's number is...
No, here's how I hear those numbers. 26% includes people like maybe me or you who go to ESPN.com or CBS and fill one out. The 16% that do the women are also the 16% that are gamblers.
They're heavy. That's
they're
a
heavy.
Great point.
They're into it. They're like, okay, where else can I win some money? We got some pretty good games today, though, and I think some ones that are really worth watching. Louisville-Creighton, 8-9 matchup, I think is going to be a good one. That's going to kick your day off at 11:15. Gonzaga-Georgia is another 8-9 matchup at 3:35. Kansas-Arkansas tonight. You got Bill Self against John Calipari. I think that's a fun matchup. That's going to be a late game, 8:45. I do have a couple upset watches.
Okay.
That I think will be fun games to watch. First one's going to be Drake, Missouri at 6:35 tonight. I think that is an upset watch, and yes, that would be an upset, right? If Drake beats Missouri, just based on the seeding and the conference and everything, that'd be an upset. Utah State and UCLA, I think that's an upset watch. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying the possibility of going, holy crap, we have somebody eliminated. Utah State's a 10 seed, UCLA is a 7 seed, and my other one, this may surprise some people. And I have number 13, High Point, over Purdue. Or I'm not saying they're going to win, but it's one of those upset watches over 4th-seeded Purdue. I mentioned High Point because I'm a big fan of Alan Huss. Alan Huss is the head coach at High Point. And I said this earlier that people thought I was crazy. I brought up Alan Huss's name for the Iowa job. And they're like, are you crazy? He's at High Point. I get that. Alan Huss is going to be one of these fast rising coaches. And he played at Creighton. He was an assistant at Creighton under Greg McDermott. And he's gone to High Point and in just, 2 or 3 years, has this team in the NCAA basketball tournament. The crazy thing is, Ross, is that if he got the Iowa job, I wouldn't be upset. If Ben McCollum gets the Iowa job and Alan Huss gets the Drake job, I'd be ecstatic. I mean,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, I could see him at Drake, I could see him at Iowa. I don't think he's going to get the Iowa job. I'm just saying if Beth Getz can't land who she wants, he might be one of those guys you bring in. So.
Does that 11:40 tip in my mind, I feel like that does benefit a 13 against a 4. There's not a lot of energy in that arena. It's going to be pretty empty. That can affect a team. You're coming in as that again. Purdue is. Matt Painter has been known for not having his team playing the absolute best in this tournament, right?
I mean, Matt Painter is a great coach.
Great coach.
But his yes.
With some unbelievable talent at the college level, he hasn't been able to do that. So that game's being played in Rhode Island. Purdue fans traveling over to Rhode Island?
No. Family members. But it's not like, hey, let's. I mean, Drake fans are going to travel to Wichita because that's drivable.
Right. And again, it's not a knock, but it's Drake, and you're looking at it like, man, this is our postseason. This is it. If you're a Purdue fan, there's a part of you that looks at it and goes, well, why go to Rhode Island when just going to have to go someplace?
They may lay the bed.
Yeah, not only crap the bed, but even if we do just do what we're supposed to do, there's another trip after that.
It's a possibility.
I think that maybe, and we're probably both wrong. This is why we don't do prognostication radio. But I do. That's a fun one, and that game tips off again 11:40. That gets the juices going, baby. That's like a couple hours.
Is there any game that you're looking forward to besides Drake?
I mean, obviously the Drake game, but when I pull that up, Travis, these early games, I'm glad that we get that Creighton-Louisville game to start things off because that should be a really good game. 8-9 matchup, hopefully back and forth, and at least enough to get things going. Let's hope that High Point has a great game against Purdue. That'll get the text messages firing between all the boys. Like, man, make sure you're turning on CBS. Or that one's on. That game actually is on True TV, so that'll make the text messages even more fun.
This is the one time of year we all
find True TV.
Yeah, and it's the one time of year we all watch True TV. Nobody watches True TV outside the NCAA basketball tournament. I don't.
So that's I like that we're getting started right away, but those 116 matchups at 1 o'clock, those are always fun. Just for the hope, just for that first half when it's 38-42, and you're like, no way,
we may see the upset.
Alabama State's gonna knock off Auburn. The final score is like 116-48.
What happened? It was such a good game in the first 20 minutes.
Until the first half got over.
Somebody got yelled at
halftime.
Throwing
alley-oops off the backboard to each other. What happened?
It turned into a Globetrotter game. They sucked us in.
So what game am I looking forward to the most? That's the series right there. Creighton-Louisville to get things started. It should be a great matchup. I like the fact that you turned me on to High Point Purdue. I looked right past that game on the schedule. But then it will all be gearing up for tonight with Drake and Missouri at 6:35. That one is on True TV as well. So get your True TVs figured out.
Or you can just watch on the March Madness app. But I don't like watching games on a phone or I guess I could cast to the television. But I'm paying for.
But then, yeah, I'm with you. Sometimes that gets a little spotty and jumpy and things like that. And it just is easy. I mean, again, most of us have some sort of TV app. Just find True TV.
It's out there.
It's easy to search.
So at 8:01, when this show gets off the air, you can go find True TV.
How important? So that game tonight, I've seen a lot of people ask about this. Drake wins tonight.
The rest is gravy.
No, what I'm asking is for the Iowa job. I'm concerned about my laundry. Concerned about my logo. That's what I'm asking.
You should be concerned about your laundry. You should be. Just because there will be better offers. We like to get caught up in the logo. We did it with Darren DeVries. Why wouldn't he? Would you take Iowa or Indiana? Well, he'll take the Iowa job. He's an Iowa guy. We find out that you take the best offer where you have the best opportunity to win. And
we're also forgetting about another important thing, Travis, another important word that you and I know really well. Relationships.
Yep.
What's your relationship with these people? And it sounds like the Indiana team was building a relationship for a while.
And let's not forget that Ben McCollum worked for the athletic director at West Virginia. I was off on my dates. I said he hired him at Northwest Missouri State. That was not true. He actually, but he did work with him and for him during that time. So Ben McCollum,
so they've got a relationship.
They've
You're
got
right
a
about that?
relationship.
Okay. Yeah.
And you want to, and what do you want to have? You want to have a relationship and trust the person you are working for and with.
What did Fran McCaffrey said yesterday? I saw the notes on it.
It's all about building relationships.
Yeah,
and
I want to have an
administration.
I want to work with an administration that helps me, that works closely together with me to help me build a relationship with the fan base. That's what he said about his
everything in life comes down to relationships, including your real estate business comes down to relationships.
It does. If people trust you.
I forgot Bruno's not here today, is he?
Oh, he's
Remember,
not?
he's
Okay.
not. He's
That's all
not.
right.
Remember, he was traveling, and he says, I totally forgot that he said he wasn't going to be here today. So we've got another half hour to just talk sports and other things.
Can I find more silly stuff for us to talk about?
Sure. It is the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com, powered by Willis Automotive.
Spring is in the air and the perfect time to take care of your vehicle. Your car has worked hard all winter. Now it's time to give it the care it deserves. Did you know spark plugs should be replaced every 60,000 miles on some newer turbocharged vehicles? Also, carbon deposits on the valves can disrupt the airflow of the engine. These simple services can keep your engine running smoothly, ensure you start every adventure with confidence. Visit Willis Chevrolet today and make sure your car is ready for the road ahead.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
If you have a pest problem with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage and Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels. There's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
Listen to the Rush Radio Show all day long at therushradio.com, powered by Willis Automotive. Just click that Listen Live link. You know, we're finding out each and every day, you know, our egos are so damn big that we just assumed everybody knew that Ross and I were doing a show together. But every single day it's like, oh, I just found you. I didn't know you guys were doing this. And so if you know somebody who may enjoy the show, listened to us before but didn't know we've landed in a new spot, tell people. Tell people to go to therushradio.com and discover the show, because that would be great. I'm excited for next Tuesday, Ross, because we're going to Atlantic to visit the Atlantic Coca-Cola bottling company, and we're gonna see the bottling line. We're gonna see the canning line.
It's the first, and we hate saying first because that implies there will be others. It's the first Rush Radio road trip.
Oh, there's going to be others. As it starts to warm up, we get into spring. Ross and I are going to hit the road, and we're going to hit a lot of towns this summer. Ross's vacation is going to be centered around just spending time in a car with me. All right, we're going to go shake hands, kiss babies. I don't know if we'll do all 99 counties, But we're
not going to go full Chuck Grassley.
No, we're not going to do that. But we may be coming to a town near you.
Speaking of a town near you and traveling across Iowa, one of our listeners, Jody, has reached out to us about Robbie Erickson. Now
I've talked to him on Facebook. He started his run today.
He's running across the state of Iowa, starting in Omaha. And again, you had a blizzard yesterday.
Yeah, he's running on ice this morning. I promise you, he's running, and he's running all the way to Muscatine, I think it is.
Is that where you would know better than me? You've actually been able to communicate with him.
I was trying to get him on today, and he's like, "Hey, I start my run today," but he's raising money for like a system that does better timing. Is it? What's the school? Collins Maxwell? Is that what it is?
I think
forget
that's
the
what
school.
it is,
Yeah. But when he gets done running across the state, he's going to come on with us and talk about what it's like. I mean, that's more than a marathon every day, right? Because he's doing it in like 7 days. That's a ragbri on legs.
Oh, I hate running.
Oh, so do I. I hate exercising. Everybody goes,
now, exercising I don't mind.
Oh, I do. I despise it. Everybody's like, how'd you lose all the weight? When I tell them I did not work out at all to lose the weight, they're like, what? Yeah, I didn't work out. I'm not going to work out at all. Why the hell would I work out? That means I got to put out energy. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that.
I love that. I love working out. I'm not like I'm super buff guy, but I do enjoy going to the gym and doing that. And you come out and you're like, man, I feel like a good exhausted, like that worked hard exhausted. You know what I hate? Stretching.
Really?
Oh, I hate it.
When I was in Italy last week, I actually thought maybe I need to start doing like Pilates or yoga because I want to get more flex. I noticed the older I get, my flexibility.
Yeah.
You know, my wife tried to put my legs behind my head, and it just didn't. I'm kidding. It just popped into my head. I shouldn't do that. I apologize.
So today you've told us that your wife is the one that does all of the housework around. She does all the fixing around your house.
Yeah.
And now your wife tries to put your legs behind your head. Interesting dynamic you have there at the Justice House.
515-517-2303. Adam, welcome to the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com, powered by Willis Automotive. What's going on?
What's up, fellas? Well, that took a turn of it.
Yeah, I didn't think you were leading into that, did you?
Rush Radio. Yeah, no, but I shouldn't expect anything else. Why don't we do a Rush Radio bracket and submit it, and then when you guys win, you guys can throw us all a pizza party. And then you wanted to get your brand out there more. Why don't you take a ad out on 106.3 for the Rush Radio?
I wonder if they'd let us do that.
I
wonder.
don't think so.
Why not? Money's money.
Well, and there's some truth to that. Huh. Adam,
Yeah.
good idea.
No.
With the bracket, it's funny. And thanks, Adam. Appreciate it. It's funny.
Go Duke.
Go Duke.
Go
he says.
Duke.
Because he's got money on him.
Oh,
he's
okay.
got money. He's got money on Duke, and he might be a Duke fan. It's funny. We were talking yesterday about a bracket, and we have an Iowa State signed basketball to give away, and we're like, how do we give this away? And we're like, maybe we should do a bracket challenge. And it sounded like a good idea. I think it would have been a good idea if the idea would have came to us maybe less than 24 hours before the tournament started.
Again, name of the show is Rush, but
Yes.
it felt rushed.
It felt rushed. So
We're still trying to iron out the details on those Caitlin Clark tickets.
Yes, we have a good idea, and we have there's going to be steps. We have the first and second step solved. It's the final step, how we determine the overall winner, and so we're still trying to finalize that. But we'll get to it. Again, we have good ideas. We think they are good ideas. It's just
Good
we have
idea
to implement
factory.
them.
We are good idea
Yes.
factories.
What's Dusty saying here? 103 days or something? Not sure. Anyone's counting.
So I imagine 103 days, 3 months from now, is about the time that I'll be going fishing in Canada. I think that's probably what Dusty's talking about there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I did work out when I was in Italy. I climbed the bell tower at the Duomo, and I climbed the Duomo in the same day. That's 450 steps up on each one. And what I did learn is because all the kids in Italy vape, that I was in better shape than most of these kids. And, you know, it was my experience of climbing, and that is you take one step at a time and you go at a decent pace. These kids are running up the stairs, and you're like, you're going to run out of gas, man. But I don't like Stairmasters either. You know, you get on those climbing machines, you're like, ugh. Going upstairs is hard. The Iowa State women won in the NCAA Tournament. A play-in game last night, beat Princeton to advance to the first round. That's significant because Bill Fenley's 800th career win.
Wow, I didn't see that.
800 career win. Like 620-some have come at Iowa State, but 800th career win. That's incredible.
That's an awesome accomplishment. I mean, we were talking about this on Tuesday when you were gone. You know, this state, and I try to stay away from that stuff of, we're special, right? But, man, there is something here about the longevity of coaches.
Ben Jacobson, Bill Fenley. We believe T.J. Otzelberger will be here. Kirk Ferentz.
I think so, right. I think that there's a lot of examples of Lisa Bluter.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just over and over and over again examples in this state of people hang around. And we like to have people hang around. Coach Farley, who we used to have on the show on a regular basis. Even within the state, Coach Stepsis moves over. Coach Woodley moves across town. We hold on to people here.
We like loyalty. You know why? It's a great place to live and raise your family.
It's a great place to raise a family.
Great place.
Again, it's true. It's just true in a lot of places.
So
can we be?
Yeah.
Can I got a fun one for you.
Okay.
All right. So you're a professional athlete, and you finally hit. I mean, most of us would think you become a professional athlete. That's hitting the big time, right?
Well, I mean, you're a professional. You're a professional athlete. You're going to make pretty close to $1 million a year, right? I mean,
you'd think
unless you're a WNBA player, you're making $76,000.
I mean, there are professionals, right? To your point, if you're in the NFL,
yeah.
T. Higgins struck it rich. Bengals signed him to a $115 million contract.
That's
extension.
Life-changing money. That's life-changing money.
Generational life-changing money if it's not handled inappropriately. What are some things that you could imagine that you could do that would be inappropriate with $115 million?
Well, inappropriate? I could do a lot. I could do a lot of inappropriate things.
What's the most lavish thing? Like, you could go to Absolute Garage and Closets, and you could transform your entire house for, pennies.
Yes.
Of that, right?
Yeah, I would call Bats and Bugs to make sure I had zero bugs in the mansion. I would have an Absolute Garage and Closet.
Okay, so now you're down to $116,999,000.
And then I'm going to Willis Automotive, and I'm going to buy a really, really nice car.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that car you drove, I'm
Super
buying
Cruise.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get the Super Cruise.
Yeah.
Then
I'm going to donate a bunch of money to. I'm going to call Beth Getz. I'm going to call Brad Heinrichs, and I'm going to say, all right, let's get this thing done.
Well, I'm going to go buy a new fridge at Nebraska Furniture Mart and stock it with Core Power protein drink from Atlantic Coca-Cola Bottling.
Look at you, just firing them off.
And then as I move into my mansion, I'm going to get a mortgage from Gary Presnall. So I mean, yeah, and then
he can even help you. He can help you with cash transactions.
Yeah,
Gary's even closed deals for me, so you don't. He'd love to finance a loan for you. He can even help you with the cash closings.
And then I'm going to stock not my Core Power fridge, but my new bar with liquor from Central City Liquors. I think I got everybody in. Did I get everybody in this? You asked me what I do with the money. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to celebrate by going to High Life Lounge and El Bait Shop and throw a party for everybody.
So there you go. Now we're down to $114 million. We'll say you ran through $1 million. with all the sponsors there.
Yeah.
We'll say you ran through $1 million bucks.
Okay.
T. Higgins decided with his $115 million, he had a good idea. His quote is, "I'm putting a fish tank in my wall."
They asked him what he was going to do with the money. And instead of buy a house.
With $115 million, he said Tuesday's press conference, "I'm putting a fish tank in my wall." You ever seen a fish tank in a wall?
I have.
Yeah, I have too.
I have a feeling this fish tank in T. Higgins' wall is going to be more like a major aquarium than a fish tank. The fish tanks I've seen in a wall are like 50 to 75 gallon. I mean, they're big.
Dude.
But
I saw, so I call her my cousin because my uncle remarried, and then the lady that he remarried had kids, right? So I always considered her my cousin Stephanie. Her dad was like mega rich. So when Stephanie got married, she came into a lot of money, lots and lots and lots of money. And so when we got a chance to go, they built this beautiful home in Wisconsin on a little pond. It was awesome. And it had a fish tank in it. The cool thing about this fish tank, Travis, was that it was like a T. Higgins fish tank. When you walked into the living room, it was like the bottom underneath like a bench, there was this fish tank. It was kind of like the bottom third of the wall was this fish tank. But when you went down into the basement, you were on the other side of the fish tank. And it was like the full wall in the basement. It was so big that they had to pay a guy to come over and get in the tank to clean it.
Like scuba dive in there?
Yeah. A dude had to come over in swimming attire.
That's FU money. When you have that, that's FU money, right?
There was an indoor pool. It was
FU money.
Sweet.
Tyler points out on the chat, there was actually like a reality TV show called Tanked, where these guys, and I remember seeing this on like HGTV, or it might have been True TV, who knows?
Yeah, right.
But it's where these guys did these custom fish tanks at these high-end homes.
I bet those were sweet.
Yes. Yeah.
Nicole says Ross is just talking about Deuce Bigelow. No.
But I appreciate the honest answer. I'm going to put a fish tank in my wall. Most guys are, I'm going to invest, I'm going to save. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's none of your business. I'm going to buy a car.
Again, I like the honesty. I like the vulnerability. Yeah. I like the genuine answer. What are you going to do? I'm calling. Anybody know how to Google fish tank installers?
Because I'm doing a fish tank in my wall.
There was a little bit more to it, because I guess I didn't realize he's like a. He has a. Apparently, he kind of went viral back in 2013. Okay, and the article is from BengalsWire.com, which is a USA Today subsidiary. Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins has a jellyfish problem.
I don't want jellyfish. They sting and they hurt. Jellyfish, they scare me because they look like these, you just want to pick them up because they're, translucent. Then you realize they can sting the hell out of you.
So here's the series of tweets that T. Higgins sent out back in 2023. First one, A, who know how to put a jellyfish tank together? Second tweet, I bought a jellyfish and don't know how to set the tank up. Guy writes in and says, why did you buy it if you didn't know how to set it up, fam? And he writes back, ain't know it was going to be this difficult.
Ain't know it?
Guy writes in and says, dude, YouTube it. Same answer we gave him, right? YouTube it.
Yeah, YouTube it.
He says, I did, and that ain't help, brother. So maybe he got to help with that.
Well, guess what? At $115 million, he can now pay somebody.
This is what he's saying. He's like, I got the type of money to solve these problems now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That happened in 2023. I don't think that jellyfish is doing well.
Didn't survive, you think?
I don't know. Somebody wrote to him and said, by the time you get that fish tank set up, it's just going to be jelly. And he just retweeted that.
The exotic animals. I some people have jellyfish. Some people have snakes.
Dude.
People like the exotic stuff. I don't understand it. To each his own. But it's not for me. You have some NFL meetings coming up, and the Lions, Ross, are going to prepare or propose some rule changes. And one of the rule changes is to change the way the NFL playoffs are seeded. Of course, the NFL is the number one sport in America. We love the National Football League. The draft will be coming up shortly. We're gearing up for the draft. They want to change it to where maybe is how we want it in college football, where we don't want we want the seeding to change because it didn't make sense to us this year. We've been programmed with the National Football League just to accept the way they do it. Are the Lions off base by saying, hey, let's get rid of divisional winners being seeded the way they are and go straight with the records? This was proposed a couple years ago, but it was turned down. But the Lions are coming back and say, instead of you just winning your division, that what we see sometimes is a divisional winner gets a better round or a home game than a team that has a better record who was from a different division and might be a better team. What do you think of that?
I have no problem with readdressing it. I love these things where I've never thought about them because like they are saying, and like you just said also, Travis, we just kind of accept this stuff for a long time. You don't ever stop and think, man, maybe we could tweak this a little bit. And I think that they make a good point. It makes sense because it's the way it's always been. But it takes something like this for a team to say, wait a minute, what if doesn't this make more sense? On its surface, yes. This makes way more sense, doesn't it? That instead of just doing that, I mean, again, if we do that, are you just getting rid of divisions? Are you watering down what that means?
I mean, I do think there should be a reward for winning your division. Now, I have been. Sometimes you'll have a bad divisional winner that has a 500 record taking on a team that won 12, 13 games but didn't win their division, and that's a wild card game. You're trying to reward the teams that perform the best.
Right. And again, it's a conversation. I think it's a fun conversation to have, or to just kind of think about if you're going to do that, are you just getting rid of divisions altogether? Kind of like in baseball, the American and National League now is basically only divided.
In name only.
Yeah, right. And we create it for the World Series, just like you'd have the AFC and NFC to divide things evenly to go into the Super Bowl. Is there a slippery slope here? And I'm not making statements here. I'm just thinking out loud. Is there a slippery slope here? Meaning, if you do this, why not just go all the way to where it's just one giant league? Make it look like soccer. There's one table. There's one standings. And it almost looks like, even the NBA, but
NBA does it with the East and the West, right?
Yeah, even with the NBA, you've got the East and West. What if you just put it all together into one big thing? Why do we have AFC and NFC? Why do we have divisions? I'm not proposing that. I'm not thinking. I'm wondering. I mean, those are good questions to ask. And then are the answers good answers? Because if the answer is because that's the way it's always been, because tradition, then now I'm going to start sliding the other way and go, yeah, we probably should change this. If it's just because it's the way we've always done it.
Well, I mean, baseball's like that, right? I mean, you have divisions. You win your division. You have the National League, you have the American League, you have divisions within those. You could have a bad divisional winner who's going to have to, get to host a team that, let's use the American League East. American League East has been stacked for the last couple of years. Yeah, I mean, your best teams are in there.
Yeah, so I don't know. I do like the way it's set up because I think it does help us build rivalries. It helps with the geographic nature of sports and kind of those geographic rivalry things that happen. So I like the way it is, but more than just because of the way it's always been. I like it because it seems to kind of breed that competitive thing. I'm more excited when the Cubs and Cardinals are playing. I'm more excited when the Red Sox and Yankees are playing. Why is that? Is it just the rivalry part of it? If those teams, I mean, I like it when the White Sox and Cubs play, and that hasn't been happening for generations. That's, we're 20 years into that process.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. I'll look within.
There's a number of rule changes that are being proposed. Here's one I had no idea about. A change has been submitted by multiple teams that would allow preparing K-balls. Did you know there were K-balls that are used for kicking before game day, as teams are allowed to do with the balls that are used on other plays? So
what?
This is exactly what it says. I didn't know about this. A change has been submitted by multiple teams that would allow preparing K-balls, so, breaking them in, that are used for kicking before game day, as teams are allowed to do with balls that are used on other plays. So you get to use game balls beforehand, but you don't get to do that with balls that they're separate balls that you kick. Whatever happened, just, hey, here's the one ball, and this is the one we're going to use for the game. I know football uses multiple balls.
What the hell does it mean, like you can with other plays? What's the last part of that? What?
To me, there are balls that you only kick with, and then you have the game balls, which you run and pass with.
First of all, again, I love it with how when I'm so naive, I just go, I'm so dumb. I did not know this.
Either did I. Adam says K-balls are taken out of the box on game day. I had no idea. This is how sheltered of a life I've lived over 54 years. Had no idea. You learn something new every single day.
Like they do for other plays. What? What does that mean?
I'm not a kicker. Apparently, Shannon says Pat McAfee had a great conversation, and he would
Moose,
know.
By the way, Shannon is Moose.
Okay,
Moose
had a great conversation. He was a punter. He probably had to work with the K-balls. I didn't know.
Things you learn. See, this is why being dumb is so fun.
Yes, we learn here on the Rush Radio
all the
Show.
Time.
And people get to teach us. All right, we've talked for 2 hours, and we appreciate you listening for the last 2 hours. Don't forget, Drake plays tonight at 6:30. We'll talk about the Drake game, whether they are extending the season or not, and of course, other exciting games in the NCAA basketball tournament.
By tomorrow morning, does Iowa have a new head basketball coach?
No, not by tomorrow morning.
Okay,
maybe by Saturday. Maybe by Saturday.
Okay.
Well, it depends on if Drake wins today or not.
So remember, folks, Travis told us on Monday that they'd have a coach by Saturday, but that was because he had inside information. He knew some things, right?
Sure.
And now you're telling us that they are going to have a coach by Saturday because you know some things, don't you?
I know nothing.
Here's what happened.
I know nothing.
So Travis, remember, he's got that CIA connection with this with the Vegas insider. Travis knows what the fix is in, guys.
It is the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive at therushradio.com. Back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Bye-bye, everybody.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Spring is coming up, and it's a time for cleaning and renewal. Get your spring cleaning started early with the fuel induction service from Land Rover Des Moines. This service cleans out carbon buildup and other deposits from the fuel injectors, intake valves, and combustion chambers. This service can improve fuel efficiency, performance, and power to make sure your Land Rover is ready for spring and summer travel. Right now, we are offering 10% off a fuel induction service, so give us a call or head online to LandRoverDesMoines.com.